Ciao everybody, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Julian Gennady, and it is a match, pretty sure it's a match day 8 preview. I've already lost track of the season because I've been bored to death with the on-field product. Hopefully the derby is a bit different. Stick with us, and I'll let you know what I think. And welcome back. Yes, it is match day 8. Juventus comes in at 4 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. And Torino comes in not even close to us. Probably 7 points off or something like that. They're mid-table as per usual. Very boring team. Again, we'll go through their squad a bit in a few moments. But to run this down again, we go key player, Torino, how I would line up Torino, how I would line up Juventus, and a weakness of Torino and how we can exploit their deficiencies. Going into this, Chiesa picked up an injury, so I think I included him into the 11, so don't mind that. And I think Vlahovic is also carrying a back injury, so he won't be playing either. So before we get into Torino and all that stuff, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle because we're not going to have anybody to rely on in terms of individual brilliance to get us through the game. For the good moments of the season, we've relied on Vlahovic and Chiesa. And the times we struggled, those players, Locatelli, we'll say, those players have struggled to get us over the hump in games. So, who's going to pull the magic out of the hat in match day in the Torino derby? We'll see. The Derby della Mole. First, take a look at Torino's key player. And again, I don't want to sound... I always pick the forward because they deal the most damage most of the time. And I don't think a guy like Ricci or Illich are going to be good enough to dictate and dominate the ball in this type of game. So I've chosen Duvan Zapata. He's a goal scorer, and he always does well against Juventus, always causes problems. We know that he caused problems against De Ligt so many times in the past. And he just scored. And I remember the one Coppa Italia game where we lost 3-0 to Atalanta when they first started to cause problems in Serie A. And he was the forefront of that attack. He can still score goals. He's a bit older now, but he's the focal point of their attack. Unless it's Sanabria playing as well, but we'll get into that in a bit later. Let me know what you think. Again, it could be Sanabria, Vlasic. It could be what's that other Serbian guy's name? Radonjic. It could be Illich, and it could be Ricci. It could be any one of those guys, really. But I chose Zapata just because he has experience. He has quality about him when he's on, and he's hurt us in the past. So keep a lookout for him. Can Bremer match him physically? I think he can. If Rugani starts, can he match him physically? No. So that's a bit worrying. Gatti can. And Danilo, pray, because he's playing anyway, so who cares? We'll move on to a weakness of Torino now. And they barely score goals. They're very inconsistent when it comes in front of the goal. I know I just picked Zapata, but if there's going to be a chance, he will probably score just again because of his track record against us. But as a team, as a collective, to start the season 7 match days, they haven't really posed a threat in front of goal. And we can get the exact stats right now of how they've struggled matches. So, no goals against Verona, none against Lazio, 1 against Roma. They shot on Salernitana. They only got 1 against Genoa, 1 against Milan, nothing against Cagliari, and then only 2 in their Coppa Italia game. So they don't score many goals. And again, this is probably a test. And the one guy, I think, Radonjic, who's probably not going to start, got 3 of them one game, or two of them one game. That was probably the Salernitana game. So they lack goal-scoring edge. And one thing Juventus, ever since the Sassuolo game, one thing Juventus does do well is they tighten up defensively because Max Allegri's scared to death of getting any shots on goal. And this leads to our current problem. If you watched our Ale and I's podcast, you know what we think of us being scared since the Sassuolo game, especially conceding 4. But we'll see how we play tomorrow and against Torino. Now I'll go to their 11, and again, Buongiorno is hurt. I'm pretty sure their main center back. I'm pretty sure he's still hurt till mid-October, or at least the international break. But they do a 3-4-3, very similar to Atalanta. So we should be, well, I'll say we should be used to playing against this type of shape. But again, we barely played against Atalanta, in my opinion. So who cares? Treat this as a new game. So Sazonov is their main center back. He filled in last week. I'm assuming he's going to fill in this week. They got Perishers, who's good. Ricardo Rodriguez still plays football apparently. Again, if we had our full complement of players, I'd say go down that side. Then in the middle, the double pivots, Ricci and Illich. Then they got Brendan Soppy on the right wing back. They got Valentin Lanzaro as a left wing back. He was on Inter for a bit, but he never played for Inter. He got loaned out a bunch of times. And Brendan Soppy, obviously, was with Udinese. Then went to France for a bit. Now he's back. And then up top, I picked their best 3 technical players. I didn't pick Radonjic, but I picked Vlasic, and I picked Zapata, and I picked Sanabria. Just because in a game like this, they're going to need some technical ability in the final third for them. I like their midfield. I like the 2 in midfield. I think Vlasic will drop deeper to help those 2 out when they don't have the ball. So, and I would say normally, typically, when Juventus or any team has 3 midfielders, you have you have the more ability in the midfield to double up and create numbers up situations. So you have Locatelli, Moretti, Rabiot against those 2. But with Vlasic dropping in, that's probably going to help the number situation out. Let me know what you think. It's so beatable. Like, come on, it's Torino. It's the derby. Oh, I forgot to change this. I see. That's all right. But Sanabria will play closer to Zapata. Vlasic will drop deeper in the defensive phase. Soppy will become a right back. Those 3 center backs will tuck in together, and Lanzaro will also tuck in as a left wing back or left back when they're out of possession. Now let's go to our team, because our team's an absolute mess. Oops. Our team. Disregard Chiesa. I think it's going to be Keane, because I think Chiesa's out injured. I make these videos, and I make these these potential lineups way beforehand. I'm not expecting Chiesa to pick up injuries in practice, but silly me. There is a question mark in midfield. It could be McKennie in for Moretti and then Weah starting, but other than that, Chiesa's probably not playing. Vlahovic is definitely not playing, and then that one switch in midfield with McKennie dropping in for Moretti, and then Weah starting out right wing back. But other than that, that's how I would line up in this scenario that we have. Again, let me know what you think. I'm going to predict something kind of, I don't know if it's stupid. I think we'll lose. I think we will. I'm not trying to be negative either. Just ever since the Sassuolo game, I know we beat Lecce, but the Atalanta game was so poor and so negative and sour. Your 2 best players are injured again. Everything's taken a nosedive right before the international break. Maybe players have their one heads on, or their one eye on the national team, one eye on this game. Like a Kostic, like I'm going to go back to the Serbian national team, play well. Maybe Locatelli's like, I'm going to get called up again. McKennie, Weah, they're going to go play in the U.S. Are they all mentally there? I don't know. Especially with the turmoil again at the club in terms of on-field stuff now. We'll see. I think we will lose. I think we'll lose 2-1. And I don't want that to happen, but I think that's going to happen. It's not Torino have to travel far. I don't know. But I will say the fans are allowed back. And that's a big boost. Like, by fans, I mean you're allowed to have the ultras back and doing what they do prior to what Agnelli told them not to do like 3 or 4 years ago, and it should be rocking tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to play into anything because of the lack of star quality on the field, but the atmosphere at least will be better. So maybe the players can take a grasp on that and push themselves to victory. I just don't see it. I think we've reverted back to last year already, and the year previous in terms of negative. Don't concede. See what happens up in the attacking third. Let me know what you think, though. That is our preview. Torino should be beatable, especially it's a derby. You should be up for the game again, like I said, but we don't get up for games. We're scared ever since the 4 goals conceded. We're scared, and Torino has some decent players, but they're still beatable. Use the crowd. Use the new atmosphere you're going to have. Even if it's a 1-0 victory going into the national break with those 2 injuries, take it. I don't think it's going to happen, but those are the recipes to success. Dominate midfield. I know I don't think we'll dominate midfield with Rabiot passing backwards and Moretti losing the ball up the field. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Let's get a win. Let me know what you guys think. Score predictions. Anything else you want to talk about Torino. We'll see you next time. Like the video. Subscribe. Ciao, everybody.